I think we're live. So, hello everyone. It is Kenyon here. I'm joined by Coach Roach. It is Basketball Rewind, and we are going to give our first reactions. I don't know. First of all, have you seen any of the schedule at all?
I have. I've seen the schedule.
Okay, so I personally, just so you know, full disclosure, I have not. I just know what our opening day game is because the NBA communications put
Yeah.
out that, and so I know that our first day is the 24th.
Yeah.
I believe the actual official season starts on the 21st or second. So I covered that already, but I haven't looked, so I don't know whether to be afraid or happy or what. So that will be interesting. So I you don't have to pretend for me, is what I'll say. Um,
Yeah. Well, would you like me to say?
um, Tell me, are you happy or sad first before we don't, not a full thing, but are you happy or sad?
I'm neither, but it's similar to last year. I'll just put it that way. It's
Hmm.
similar in the
So it's
beginning.
not balanced in terms of the overall schedule.
I think it gets a little.
Because I felt like last year wasn't a balanced schedule in the sense that
Yeah, it's not. I don't know if it's quite as bad as last year, but I'll just put it to you this way, man. October is a gauntlet,
okay. See,
and
I
the first bit of November is a bit of a gauntlet. After that, it
okay.
maybe
See,
balances it a little.
I
Maybe December's not so bad.
the reason why I don't like it being a gauntlet like that is because of a couple reasons. Like the first thing is if it is a gauntlet early and then it's easier, if you have to make a decision on whether or not you're gonna like tank or whatever, that's tougher because then you're going to the end of the season like we were last year, trying to out tank other teams rather than just playing the games out.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily want a hard schedule in the latter part of the year because if you get that, then you might have false hope where you get a whole bunch of games early, you feel good, and then close to the end of the year, you just get beat down super easily. So,
Well, the first 10 games, 11 games, this team could be 1 in 10. Could be. I don't think they will be, but they could
okay,
be.
okay, so let's go through it. So these are the watch guides. If you, aside from whether or not you are welcome OG burner, uh,
Welcome,
on
Uncle
coach.
Coach. I like that. That's good.
Um, so yeah, on Sundays, and some of this does play out, especially the prime for us. So whether you are Canadian or not, like it's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, you have your new partners. Not ABC is not necessarily a new partner, but you have NBC and Peacock. Peacock is the streaming for NBC. They are just dominating the schedule in the first part of every single week, and that's kind of interesting. And then you start and get into the weekend. ESPN really Wednesday's ESPN day, but ESPN after Wednesday does not really dominate it. I find it interesting that Prime gets 3 days a week. What before we get into it, any thoughts on that?
Just this whole streaming service thing. I think just it's just where everything is going, quite
Yeah,
honestly. And I think this is the new season for Amazon, right?
this is the new season for
Yeah,
Amazon.
like
So
Prime.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I honestly can't wait to see NBC and Amazon. I know with hockey, Amazon or Prime has done a fantastic job in terms of quality, and they'll do a good job, I'm sure, with the NBA. And NBC is more nostalgic for myself because I grew up watching the NBA on NBC, and I know they'll put a good product over that. So I'm looking forward to how it's presented to an audience this year versus ESPN, just or TNT. Quite honestly, just talking about nothing.
Right. Now, I will say this, like the home opener, I was wrong. Sorry. I had the home opener in my mind, not the actual season opener. So I guess is Atlanta the first game? Again, I have not looked at the
Atlanta
schedule.
is the first game.
So Atlanta, so that is our first game is against Atlanta.
We are
And
on the road this
we are
year.
on the road. But very soon after, like we don't have to go till the 26th like the Cavs to get home. So that's
Yep.
actually like a really nice thing. Are there any of these home openers in general that you think would be fun to watch? Just in general, I think
Uh,
obviously the Golden State one is kind of interesting.
yeah, probably the Lakers and Golden State's
Yes.
interesting.
Yes.
Dallas and San Antonio. I mean, that's Cooper Flag and Wemby. That's going to be interesting too.
Yep. And Harper.
And I guess we forget Dylan
we
Harper.
forget
Yeah,
about
we
the
get the
number 2
number one
draft pick.
pick, the number 2 pick, the number 1 pick from the couple years before.
Yeah.
So
It's going to
yeah,
be exciting. So yeah, and I do think the OKC one is also interesting because you're going to have actually Kevin Durant is going to be in the building for ring night, which is going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. I know he's not like a hater or anything like that, but that is going to be interesting for him.
sometimes he is on social media, but
Sometimes he is, yes. So I skipped a page here. We can just kind of get rid of this. There we go. So these are the over-unders so far. I don't know. We don't have to do the full exercise, but are any of these shocking? The Raptors have actually increased. It used to be 35.5. It's out now 37.5. And this came out before the schedule was officially announced. So
is this under?
This is over-under. So this is where the Vegas line would be set.
It's actually basically where I have this team between 35 and 38 wins.
Okay, damn. And was that before or after the schedule?
I did that a few days ago, so I've never seen that. I've never seen the over under.
I haven't seen the schedule, but I'm kind of still sticking to my my range is on the low end 38 and on the high end 42. So I think 40, maybe even 39 games is kind of a perfect thing. But I would punch the over on this just barely. But I'd understand people pushing that.
Yep.
All right. So
I'm just sorry. I was looking at. I think because there's a couple of teams I think will be better. I don't know if Boston gets the 42.5. I really don't know about them.
Well, the nice thing for Boston is they have a division that has teams like Philly in it. So that's potentially. I mean, it could go either way, but I agree with you.
Yeah, Philly's so health dependent though. If Embiid is remotely healthy, they're better than Boston this year. I think they are.
Yes, they're if Embiid is remotely healthy, I think that they're a top 6 seed. Can we beat Philly? You know what, Harley, or OG, I should say. Sorry. We'll see. Because I'm going to look at the schedule because it really depends on when it happens. If it's early in the season, I'd say there's a better chance. So let's get into the season. This is the first look, and I've seen ones that kind of break it up month by month. So we'll just this is not like one note, so it's not easy to draw, but we'll just go by month here as best as we can. So in the first little bit of October, leading in, we have a Halloween game. Nice. So
no trick or treating for me, I guess.
No trick or treating for you. Not yet. One day you will be trick or treating again. One day.
Actually, I don't think I will be. That's a conversation for another day.
Okay, we'll talk. Yeah. Don't go trick or treating by yourself, Coach.
No, I think those days might be done for me. I think they were done.
They were done a while ago.
20 to 22 years ago, probably. So.
That's fair. I'm just going to make this bigger so it's easier for you to see. Is this good? I'm not on your end, so I can't see it from my end. But yeah, is this a good size for you? Are you able to see this?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, so on your birthday, nice. Okay, so here is the thing. We start off, and let's assume that the current state of team's health is going to remain for the beginning of the season. I think that's fair. So Kyrie is going to be out when we're facing Dallas.
Yeah.
Do you see a win in the first 6 games?
I think our only chance might be against Dallas. Yes, because Kyrie's out. But the problem is it's in Dallas.
It's in Dallas, and also they still have Anthony Davis. They also have, I believe, Derek Lively. They have Cooper Flag. They have Klay Thompson.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Milwaukee. I mean, that's going to be in Toronto, but
yes.
Still,
Giannis is going to play though.
Yeah. We have to assume everybody's healthy.
Will we have let's assume health for us as well, because last year we know in preseason health played a role early on.
Well, literally
But
before training camp started, Emmanuel quickly had a wrist brace on. And you knew
yes.
things weren't going to start off well when you see someone who's 25 years old with a wrist brace on.
Well, you know what though? Like my aunt has a wrist brace on sometimes, and I'm just kidding. Tried to tell him, coach. Tried to tell him.
Okay.
Okay, so Houston's also going to be a tough game. I think the most maybe I should take it as like what is the most interesting game that you would compel people to watch? Because I don't. Yeah,
Um,
oof, in the first 10 games, Philly's probably where things get winnable. Maybe depending on health.
Again, this is so health dependent because if Atlanta doesn't have Porzingis, that's going to be
Yes.
a bit more manageable for us.
Mind you, he's been out early because I don't see him playing with Lithuania in Eurobasket. And
Oh, he's with Latvia.
or sorry, Latvia.
Yeah.
Um, and I also think that it was good for him to kind of not make it to the finals so that they're not playing as late. So
Mhm.
let's just assume that he has. I'm going to assume health. I'm going to assume that he starts healthy, won't play back to backs or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But I can't even say Brooklyn. I went to watch the game Christmas time last year,
that would have been rough.
and Brooklyn beat us, and that was one of the roughest games I've watched in years. Every NBA game I go to actually is kind of sucky, quite honestly. But even Brooklyn, I
He's just
see OG's Brooklyn's easy way. Not necessarily. I mean, they didn't. Did Brooklyn really lose anyone off their team besides D'Lo? I mean, this
Cam
Claxton.
Johnson, but I would
Oh yeah,
argue
but
that if
Porter's
he's,
there. Porter
I
and
was going to
Johnson are
say
equivalent.
if Porter's healthy, I would say Porter's better if he's not involved in scandal.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's very health dependent, but
Yes.
I, there is a world in where we don't win a game until we face Brooklyn, and that's not to be like uh, really pessimistic about the team, but we literally were on a show last year at this time when we saw the schedule come out,
Yeah,
and
we were.
you and me and myself, or you, me, myself, and beyond, we looked at the schedule and said we might not have too many wins starting out.
No.
We did not have too many wins
We were
starting out.
actually we were actually basically spot on with the amount of wins that we had in over the first 20 games, which was interesting. Um
I think by the new year we had almost 10 wins on the year.
yeah. I know some the hater comments go, it's not about that. It's just can you win the game or not? As simple as at the end of the day, like is it going to be a W or is it not going to be a W? When you get into November, before we get into like game 10 though, because I'm jumping around a little bit. Again, we would have faced Milwaukee twice, so really it depends on like is Milwaukee able to garner some sort of level of
Oh, don't hear you. We don't have you.
okay. Can you hear me
Got
now?
you. I got you. We got you now.
Okay. It's probably worse mic quality, but that's okay.
No, that's okay. I hear you fine.
Okay.
Our
So
audience will be okay.
yes, so yeah, basically, you get into the early part of November, right? And you have to ask yourself, like, okay, can you basically get at least a game or two against Milwaukee to start off the season? Because you look and it's like Cleveland, no, we no. Like there are levels to this, and Cleveland is straight up better than us. I would say
Yes.
Mobley, Mobley and Barnes are not prospects anymore. But like in
No.
terms of where they are as players, Mobley has accomplished more because getting a Defensive Player of the Year award plus All NBA, I believe. I believe.
Did he get one?
I think so.
I don't recall him getting one, but that's quite a
Let me
feat
just
if he
double
did.
check. I know he got All Defense.
Yeah, I always get all defense. I think he
Let me
said
actually
that.
double check. I don't want to overstate this. I'm a Mobley guy, so yeah, I'm a little bit. Yeah,
Oh,
All NBA second team.
he made the All NBA second team. Wow,
So, um,
good for him.
respect.
No, I mean, I was a Mobley guy too. I wanted him number 2 or 3 or 4 if he fell. But again, I was
Yes.
completely fine with Scotty because I had Scotty around
I
4
I
at the
thought I
time.
thought Cleveland would pass
I
by
figured we
him.
would have went with Suggs, but I saw what was going on the last few weeks of the
Mhm.
workouts at the time, and Scotty was really impressing people.
Yeah,
But
he was. He
that
was.
was that's another time.
Yes. But yeah, a two-time all defense guy. So yeah, like I'm just going like team by team like them. Like if people are trying to compare the two teams, I like Mobley is. I think it's fair to say that he's better in a role that works for him more easily than Scotty. Where right now, going into the season, it's a bit of an unknown. How does it work? Maybe he improves, maybe he doesn't. With Mobley, like worst case scenario, they know what he is.
Yeah.
And Donovan Mitchell is, from an offensive standpoint, better than anyone else on our team currently. It's just he is that good.
Yep.
So without even getting into Garland and anything else, I know that they're going to play Jalen Tyson. They did make a trade for Lonzo. I almost said Lonzo Mourning, but Lonzo Ball, who I actually think is very underrated, and he's one of my. It's not like a favorite player, but he's like one of like if I were to say like an underrated guy, like I really like him. Uh, they got better.
No,
So
I agree.
yeah.
Cleveland did. Cleveland got bigger. Like they were already big up front. Now they get
Mm.
bigger at the guard position as well. I mean,
You know who else got bigger? In some ways, Houston.
yeah,
They got longer.
most definitely.
So yeah. So
Yep.
okay. So we'll go. So you're picking potentially what? Are you going with OGs two wins
Uh,
in the first 10?
the first 10. Sorry, let me just count. So the 10th game is Philadelphia. It's not even Brooklyn.
No.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 1-9.
Okay. Not 3-7 because maybe they get one. So and you're saying that it's you don't think that we can beat Atlanta at home. So I'm
We have to
guessing
assume everybody's healthy.
is Memphis where you're taking the win because they lost Bain.
No, actually, Memphis would be difficult. I think we'll get one of them against Milwaukee.
Gotcha. Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at the next 10 games.
Yeah, we'll get. Well, I think we might get one against Milwaukee, but
So we have 10 to, or basically 11 to 20. This is a big stretch in November. Um, this is where things kind of flirt between tough and easy or games, perceived easy games. Um, okay. We do play Indiana, who everyone thinks is very weak. I think Indiana will be interesting because it's gonna give this is actually a really good year for them. They just got a lot of playoff experience. They
yep.
have someone in Nemhard who is going to be very motivated to prove that he can do it. And then, of course, there are contract negotiations ongoing, but Matherin has, I think, a lot to prove as well. But just
Yes.
coming off that playoff run, that energizes people.
Well, they're without Halliburton and Turner. Turner's
Mm-hmm.
gone. Halliburton's out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
So their starting lineup, I'm just taking a guess. Nembhard's probably going to start point guard for them. I think he'd
Yes,
have to.
yes,
I
yes.
think
This
they're.
has, this has been talked about. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think Matherin might start in the backcourt, and
Mm-hmm.
then they'll have Neesmith, and they'll have Siakam, and then they'll have one of Jackson or Huff, Jay Huff. I think they signed.
What about Walker?
Don't think they'll start Walker. Too
Okay.
small. But I think it'll be one of Jackson or Jay Huff will start. So
And do you have Neesmith in that?
yep, I had Neesmith.
Oh,
I had
Neesmith.
Neesmith
Yeah, yeah,
still
yeah. Okay,
starting
okay,
three.
okay.
So there's still a fair amount of shot creation, especially with Matherin and Nemhard. Defensively, Neesmith is okay. Siakam, we know he can play a bit. Actually, Jay Huff was G League Defensive Player of the Year a couple of years ago. Like I think he can play a little
Yeah.
bit. He just never hasn't really had the chance to. So I still think Indiana will be a fine team. Like they're not going to be as good as they were. They
No.
can't be without Halliburton and Turner, but could they be a 500 team this year? Yeah, they probably could be.
They're gonna change the way that they play. I think I haven't watched it yet, but I have heard some people outline some thoughts about Caitlin Cooper's thoughts and her conversation with Rick Carlisle. And apparently, he did mention how they were going to play more through Siakam. So that if that is the case, that'll be interesting, and they might find a new style of play that both incorporates what he wants and also something that optimizes the rest of the team. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll definitely see. I'm surprised that they're not starting TJ McConnell though, but um,
Yeah, I mean they may in the end. I don't know,
they
but
might. They
if it
might.
was me, I would be starting Nemhard
Yeah,
at
no.
point.
They've announced that they're starting Nemard. I'm just wondering if they would put TJ McConnell as this two because they really like TJ McConnell, but I don't think that they should. Washington and Charlotte, are those winnable games? Because right
Yes.
now Philly, we'll just say it's a push. Um, yeah. By the way, welcome Beyond. You're welcome to come on if you have the time. Anytime. TJ does live. Um,
Dribble,
we're
dribble, 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 dribble. Yeah. Dribble, 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 dribble.
best
Yeah.
best point
That
guard in that series apparently.
he
So
love he looking like Bob Cousy out there.
yes. Um, I think Washington is like to me. I have to see them play. I think Washington will shock people, but let's say that's a close. Let's say that's a winnable game. I think that Washington is still a very young team, even though they do have a few vets, but they're still relatively a young team, very talented team. We will see. That's that and the Charlotte game are the games that I see as most winnable in that next section, where it's like if you, I would not recommend people bet, but if you were obsessed with betting, maybe those are the ones that you would
Sorry.
maybe want to consider.
It's just if you're a fan of this team and you talk about betting, it's
Don't
never
do
mind.
it.
Never mind.
Yes. Do you agree or disagree? Because there's two Charlotte games and that's it.
Yeah, I think we might get one of the Charlotte games for sure. Oh, again, it's going to be dependent on health.
So would
If
that put you at 4-20 or 4-16?
I mean, it could. I haven't really counted looked at the other teams, but Charlotte, we always had issues. Luckily, Nick Richards is off the team because he would always destroy Pirtle out there.
Yeah.
Miles Bridges is always a tough matchup for us. LaMelo, if he's healthy, obviously, it's a tough matchup. And then you add Brandon Miller. So
They also got Khan.
they got
Got Khan. He looks nice, man. He looks nice.
They added some shooting.
They did
Yeah,
add some shooting.
they added some shooting.
And they have some creators, of course, with LaMelo, and I think Brandon Miller has another level to reach to see. So
Oh, absolutely, but they're similar to us. If
yes,
they're healthy, then they could be potentially a play-in team if they're healthy. I mean, LaMelo as a rookie took them to a play-in
yes,
spot.
which
He
is kind
just
of crazy.
and I'm not counting on him being healthy. I just never do now. It's just been way too many injuries. It's almost the same. I hate saying this, but sorry, Raptors fan. I love the Ingram trade, but we're putting a lot on him to be healthy too this year for a guy who is notoriously hurt all the time.
Yes. So then you have the in-season tournament right around there, but right around these dates. So that's it tells you the dates in December 9th through the 15th or 16th, I should say. So that's going to be interesting, we'll say.
Yeah. Their over-under on Washington, I think, was 20.
And the blue ones are the in-season.
Yeah, they're the in-season. But when you showed the picture before of all the over-unders, they had Washington at 20. I think that is so wrong.
Oh, I would push the over on that.
I'm definitely pushing the over on that. I think Washington, they might have 10 more wins, maybe 12 more wins.
I have them at about 30. 30 wins is where I would have them.
Yeah, they look another year of Alex Sarr. They added CJ McCollum. They drafted Trey Johnson, drafted Will Riley. Still have Carrington. Still have George could be playing for Canada. They get something building in Washington if they're doing it right.
They got another vet too, but I can't remember. Oh, Middleton.
Chris Middleton, again, health dependent.
Did you know that Washington basically had a 500 record or close to a 500? They were like 6-8 with Middleton playing.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So Middleton plays. Don't be shocked if Washington is halfway.
Yeah, that's why I can't say, they're good. There's 2 wins for us against Washington. I don't know that.
Yes, it's a little early, but I think it's a winnable game. I'll say.
Oh, they're winnable. They're winnable games.
Yeah.
But I just see some people being, man, we got the 6th seed, or man, we got 45, 48 wins. I'm just like, I can't gauge this team because of the last third of the season.
Yeah.
When everybody else was tanking, I can't go by that because we were a bottom 5 defense for 2/3 of the year.
Yeah, we were. And we
Yeah.
ended up being the 15th overall defense because we were the top 2 defense to end the season against tanking teams.
Again, yeah, with Orlando Robinson and AJ Lawson. I'm just like, that's not enough information for me. When this team
Yeah.
was actually playing before Darko said, you know what, we're going to see more Jacoby tonight instead of Chris Boucher on a 6-game winning streak. Well, then that was a wrap after that.
Yeah.
He got his notice from the side, and Bobby said, yeah, you might want to start losing now.
The real question is, like, what is the record come mid-January? Because at that point, it's time to either it's time to make a decision time. Definitely by then.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the decision may not necessarily be to like blow it all up or the opposite, or even to push all the chips in the middle, but it could be like moves on the margin that just nudge you in one direction or another, and then sitting guys or playing guys.
Yeah. But think about that for a second. They might have to make a decision in January if we're that bad after acquiring Brandon Ingram and being in the luxury tax, the first tax.
Yeah.
No, we get a tank now. Like, just think about how poor asset management that is. That's very poor.
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne Casey will have his hand. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I have no idea actually who is going to be that. Well, that it's been quiet on that front actually for a little bit of time, which is interesting as well. So yeah,
it has been, because it seemed like Keith Pelly was pretty eager to make that move fairly quickly. But you know what? It's the off season right now. Your coach is in place. Not like we had to wait 4 months for Darko. You know, it's. I don't mind.
There's no draft coming up, right?
There's no draft. You can wait. You can wait a little bit longer for President Basketball Ops. I just don't know how attractive the job is, quite honestly.
For sure. So if we look at the next 20 games, just kind of zooming out, and it's interesting because I just in my mind as I'm mapping it, I see more Eastern Conference teams in the early part of the schedule, which is interesting.
Yep.
For the most part, like it's yeah. I mean, just kind of zooming over it quickly here, and that kind of continues on until like into January. So really, by the time you get here, it's like, are you seeing any real winnable games at this point of the schedule in the next 20 games? From like the time you like, I don't think that New York is going to be a winnable game. I think the Lakers with Luka, LeBron, Ayton, Smart.
It's not winnable.
Austin, yeah, exactly. Maybe Charlotte,
maybe Boston,
maybe Boston, depending.
Maybe Portland. I don't know because it's in Toronto.
Portland, will say maybe, yeah, sure.
It's a maybe. It's a maybe. Portland, yeah. Portland's better though. They'll be better.
Yeah. Drew Holiday will potentially be healthy.
I think that stretch, now that you show it to me, that stretch to about New Year's is going to be very telling where this team is at. Just like it was last year. I believe it was you that said it.
Yep. I said the first, usually it's 20 games, and people weren't ready. And I said, all right, the first, let's give it 5 more games.
There's a lot of winnable, there's a fair amount of winnable games in that stretch. Washington, I'm seeing on Boxing Day, Miami on the 23rd, Brooklyn on the 21st, Boston on the 20th. I think
you have to, when it comes time for December, you have to basically weather the early 10 games. And then you have to win every single game that you're supposed to win, regardless of anything else. Like, you have to win certain games. So, like, in that early stretch, you have to, as they say, punch up. Like, you have to beat, like, the Atlanta before, like, they really get their P's and Q's about them. Because they now have younger, better, and longer center depth than they ever have.
Yeah. The weight of the franchise is on Alec McKechnie's shoulders right now.
Yes, and or on Ingram's knees.
Oof.
Yes.
Or ankles.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's go to the second half of the season. Just kind of just speed this along just a little bit. So the Let's see. I don't like Sacramento. That's probably a winnable game. I don't know what they're doing right there in Sacramento right now. Um, is there anything early on where you would say like it's worth it to kind of make a run at it? Because I see winnable games here, but then there's like some tougher teams I think that people think are winnable, like Detroit or Orlando, and it's like Orlando, as per usual, it is dependent on health. Like if Suggs is there, and then all the rest of their crew is healthy with Desmond Bain, like they're gonna beat us, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be a team to watch this year. Certainly.
Yes.
I mean, they've drafted really well the last few years. They've had lots of picks, of course, but like some of these games I'm looking here in the new year, like there's games with Charlotte, Boston, and Philly. Like Toronto or the Raptors got to win 3 or 4 of those games, in my
Well,
opinion. And they probably got to. And I see they have a back to back with Atlanta in the new year. They're going to win one of those.
here's the interesting thing that I'm seeing. A lot of the teams that people are gonna say are tanking, we face relatively in the middle of our schedule, or even in some cases early. So, like a Charlotte or whatever. Those are teams where if you don't take care of them early, it could bite you one way or another,
Yep.
depending on where you want to end up in the standings at the end. Like at the end of the season, it might come out to bite you because it's harder to win those games. Sorry, it's harder to lose those games later on in a season when both teams might potentially be trying to lose. But early on, it might be a toss up as these players are trying to kind of prove themselves throughout the season. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the Raptors' first 10, 12 games, it's going to be rough. And I
Yeah.
think your goal, literally, if they're 500 in the first 12 games of the year, you better consider that a success.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's not an easy
Yeah.
schedule. Once you get to like Charlotte, maybe Philly, depending on Embiid's health, I think Embiid will be more healthy probably in the earlier part of the year than the end of the year. That's typically how it goes with him. So you need wins. You need to split some with Philadelphia. It's going to
Well,
be tough,
I'm
but
hearing the opposite. I'm hearing he might not be ready come time for season. So it might be the opposite.
if he doesn't play, then I would give the Raptors the edge in that when they play Philly.
Right. So like that early Philly is like that might be your best chance to get Philly versus
Yep.
later on when they're trying to win because Philly's going to have a lot of pressure to do something or it's bad for a lot of people.
Yeah. No, it
Not named
is.
VJ Edgecombe
Yeah.
and McCain.
So what your first 10 games of the year for you? What
I
do you
mean,
have them as?
I agree with you. I mean, I'm trying to give them these. Oh, by the way, this is nice. It shows that if it's on Peacock or whatever. And I guess these are technically the national games. So we have, actually, let's see. We only have 2 national games. Oof. Jeez, that's rough.
Well, that's not shocking. You get a bad team. Why would you have more national games?
I just thought we'd have more prime games,
Oh,
at
not
least.
until the team gets good or you get a guy who people want to see. You're not
Yeah.
getting those
Yeah,
games.
like if
That's
you have
how
like a
it's
Vince Carter level
exactly.
talent where someone's just like hyper exciting, then like okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you got to you get a top 10 MVP candidate, then you'll have more games. And until you have that guy, probably not going to get him.
I mean, through the first 10 games, to answer your question, I'm just going to assume that Embiid's not healthy to start. So I'm going to give them that win, and then I don't think I think that Atlanta is actually better than us, but it is possible that one of the Atlanta games, the first game, but it's their home opener, so that's really tough. They're going to be under a lot of pressure. Um,
It's going to be tough because Atlanta, Trey Young, Daniels, Reese Shea,
I think,
Johnson,
yeah,
KP.
you'll split against. There's 2 winnable games there, so I think 2-8.
But okay, if you are the Raptors management
Damn.
and you're 2-8 to start the first 10 games of the year, are you not a little concerned? I
Um,
would be.
at that point, you might see one of two things happen. I'm assuming that they will have a president of basketball operations. You will probably start seeing rumors swirl then. I don't think Ingram's going anywhere regardless of what happens. It's hard to trade him.
No, I don't think so.
He wouldn't be at the peak value, but you might see other people, definitely if RJ isn't traded by the start of the season and he's still there, then you might have more RJ rumors. You probably see an Ochai trade early, but the trade moratorium doesn't really open up anyways until December, where like all the new signed free agents. So that makes it tough, right? Because it's like you might just, if you start 2-8 and you're like the person in charge, you might be like, oh man, I want to change the team, and you just have to weather the storm until
no, you do, because I mean, this team is in the tax. They're not gonna.
No,
someone's gonna go unless they're going to be a top 5 team, and
they would have to start off the opposite of what we're saying, where they're like 16-4.
Yeah. Now with Boston and Indiana clearly taking steps back. I mean, yeah, that helps them, but we also have to remember Orlando and Atlanta have taken steps forward. For sure they have. I think Miami has too.
And Boston's
them getting Norm Powell is a good pickup.
Absolutely. And Boston's not necessarily a slouch either, by the way. Just like on a 1-to-1, like comparing, like I think most people would accept that Jaylen Brown is better than Brandon Ingram.
Certainly more reliable. That's for sure.
Yeah, and as
better
a defensive player, he's better defensively. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I think Ingram is a much better at handling the ball and whatnot. But they're just Jaylen Brown is Jaylen Brown. I mean, he's a Finals MVP for a reason. Is he? Wait, no.
Yeah, he is. He's Finals MVP.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I definitely would have Brown. I think he's younger. He might not be younger, but
he might be actually. They might, or they might be the same age. That's actually a good question.
Yeah. Are you?
He is older.
Okay. What are your thoughts on, like, we hear the front office keep saying, well, we have Brandon Ingram coming in. Well, we have Brandon this. We don't have to rely so much on Scotty. Like, does it worry you a bit or not?
Does it worry me a bit? I think yes and no. I've accepted that I'm open to whatever happens this year. I think it worries me in the sense that, to your point, it puts a lot on Ingram. Yeah. However, it puts a lot on the coaching staff. And I think that something's going to break in a good way. Like, and what I mean by that is no matter what happens, good or bad, you will have your answer. And that's really important. Like, you won't get to the end of next season and be like, what is X, Y, and Z? Right? What is Scotty Barnes? Like, we kind of already have a definitive answer on that. And I think that there is a pathway for him to be good. Like, that's the thing. There's a pathway for us to be better, in my opinion. Maybe I might actually be the most optimistic on this team, funny enough. But that doesn't mean that I'm like overly optimistic either.
Yeah.
But there is pathways for them to be good. But the question is, do they figure that out quickly enough? And there's no pun intended there either. And I don't. That's where I have concerns. Is that, will Scotty still try to be the man next year? Like from like an offensive, I'm trying to, ISO, et cetera, et cetera. If that happens next year for like the first 5-10 games, that's not going to bode well, right?
No. You mentioned about IQ. He's actually one of the most important players to this team next year. I'm not just saying, obviously, he's the starting point guard. It's not so much that. It's the game that he does have that nobody else on this team has. The above the break, pull up 3-point shots, the catch and shoot 3-point shots.
It's only one other person that kind of does it in the same way.
Who's that?
Grady.
Grady, yeah. But I mean, quickly, this is a big year for him. And part of our success really is just his skill set is something that we don't have on this team. I actually don't mind the starting lineup. For one, we're a little bit bigger up front with Ingram, right? We have more scoring opportunities. We have a guy who I think can kind of get you a bucket. Okay. I for that the starting unit is better than it was last year. My concern, though, is when we get to the bench, because it gets pretty small when we get to the bench. I'm talking, when I say small, I mean the front court is small.
I mean, Mamu is Mamu is
6'8",
your
6'9".
backup center, and he's playing. I expect he's a veteran in the NBA, so Mamu will be playing more minutes than Chomchi. Even though Chomchi will get his 5 minutes, it's Mamu's spot to lose. I think that's
Yeah,
very fair.
Mobo is 6'5", 6'6". Murray Boyles, I get it.
He,
He's about 6'6".
yeah,
Then we get down to Shed
I'll,
about six
he's
one.
6'6.5". I'll give him
Yeah,
6'7". Let's just say
yeah.
6'7", just to be fair.
Ochai, we know, is about 6'4". I just worry that we're too small off the bench. Again, we have another year where if Pirtle goes down, this team is in big trouble.
Yeah, I think that's in some ways having Grady and Jacoby off the bench with CMB might be an interesting way to kind of
I'm interested to see that.
yeah, and then you hijack the length a little bit because Grady's at least 6'8" with a 6'8" wingspan for sure. You'd have, you know, at least from a wingspan standpoint, you're not worried too much. That might make up a little bit for the lack of positional verticality. You gotta, but like the size is the size, right? And the lack of like, to me, I think the one way that they can shift that, whether it's this year or whenever, is to get a bigger, straight up point guard. Like just get a bigger point guard that's either on the starting lineup or or who can kind of come along with the with the bench unit. I mentioned Kobe Buffkin before. I just mentioned him mainly because I liked him in the past, but also he's 6'7", and he might not have the highest value right now. And no to the Atlanta Hawks fans that say we should trade Grady for him. That is insane.
Sorry, Grady for who?
They suggested Grady for Kobe Buffkin, and I was like, what has Kobe Buffkin done?
That's past now.
Yeah, that's a couple years past. But I think if you get something like that, it doesn't have to be him, but something of that nature where it's a second draft guy that has some positional size, especially if you notice early on Jamal Shed isn't doing what you want him to do, you'll have his chance. That might, I'm not saying it's not about unlocking today, but that might pay dividends down the road. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, at the guard spot, we're pretty small, regardless. Yeah. And I heard an analyst once say, I 100% agree with him. And we're right on, and we fall into one of these things. He said, old and small doesn't mix in the NBA. We're not old, but we're small.
No, yeah. I mean,
you can't be both, and it's really hard to be one.
Actually, I'm going to come out and have a hot take. I don't think we win the Boston games. Chris Boucher won't let us.
You might be right. He's just going to look at Darko and say, oh, yeah, you want to sit me at the end of the bench after winning 5 games in a row to play Jacoby Walter?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Like, you know how these things go, right? Like, it's like a guy like that. He'll have a rest day before. So he'll prep for the game.
He might start for them.
Yeah.
There's a world in which he does start for Boston, and I'd be curious to see that.
It will be. I don't know.
I'm also rooting for him. I don't like his defense. I never have.
No.
But his effort, it's very hard to replace that.
He's the perfect 6-man style big or whatever in the NBA if you're a team that's competing. Yeah. So
he's out there to prove something as well. If that guy never played the last 25 games of the season when you were out there throwing out Orlando Robinson and Castleton, you were throwing out all these guys and you wouldn't play him 1 minute, not even the last game of the year. What a disgrace.
And I think
we are
Boston
at times.
Doesn't mind. Yeah, I think Boston doesn't mind if, say, they're not going to play him. They don't mind moving off of him to a team that will play him.
Yeah, he's only making like $3 million or something like that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, the one guy that if they want to get a little bit of size and like take a cheap gamble on early on in terms of the Raptors might be a Robert Williams. I don't know if it happens, but it is someone that I believe he's still on Portland. That could be an interesting contract. It's the Raptors are not in a position to just take on salary willy nilly, so that's part of the thing. Is that
No, we definitely can't.
but yeah, exactly.
We're already expensive lottery team right now who is banking a lot of their future on the guy who barely plays 50 games a year.
Yeah.
We're not exactly we don't have the cards.
Yeah, no, we don't. Good
We
call out on
don't
that.
we
Have the
don't
cards.
exactly have the cards right now.
Yeah, but I think that there is a world, like the way that I see it is that for them to punch up, because I do think it's important to look at both situations. If they punch up, and not just like the teams that they would punch up against, but how they would punch up, you have to make sure that they're number one in Darko's system, point five or not, there needs to be a well defined pecking order.
Yeah,
Like
it's role players. Yeah.
Houston struggled with it at times last year, for sure. But at the same time, they had somewhat of a pecking order to get there. But in the regular season, you have to have that well defined pecking order. So that's the first thing. I think in terms of like beyond that, I think putting guys and finding the units, the 3 and 4 man units that work both offensively and defensively very early on. Like the I don't know if this is a year that Darko is going to be playing 11 deep on a regular basis. If
Yeah,
he's serious about winning.
I don't know. You mentioned something earlier though about Jacoby, Grady,
CMB, yeah.
and CMB. I'm very curious where Ochai also fits into that because Ochai has. You can make a case that Ochai should be playing a fair amount of minutes. He did well last year. He was on the three best starting five lineups. He was on all three of them. So I'm kind of wondering how are they going to work with him, get him minutes, but not sacrifice Jacoby's minutes because I think that would be silly if you did that.
Well, you did Jacoby, Grady, CMB, and Ochai,
That's
right?
too small.
That's 4 players already. And then you have a tough decision on who you're going to play with that. Now, you could, in theory, play Mamu, and if Mamu is decent enough defensively, maybe that could work. But then you have to. It is a lineup that could work if they use CMB the way that Darko likes to use Pirtle. That could be interesting because I think that he has the playmaking chops to do that. However, I don't know if he would do that, and or
Who
he.
plays point? Jacoby playing point?
I would do the Draymond thing with CMB, right? That's basically
Yeah.
what he did in college.
Yeah. Just seeing four guys 6'6" and under or 6'7" and under, that worries me.
Yeah, but at least having, your fourth ancillary, maybe it's Pirtle, maybe it's Mamu,
Yeah.
that at least gets you to size back up. I think the problem is that Ochai is probably getting cut from the rotation. Although he's not the first person to get cut from rotation, first person will be Mobo. I think the
Yeah.
next person is him because Jacoby does what he does and will be cheaper for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens kind of with Ochai and Mobo because I can make an argument too. They're better defenders than Grady and Jacoby. They are.
Yeah.
But you need Grady's offense and the gravity that he can create, and you need Jacoby for what he can do as well. So I'm curious. I think you're right on Mobo. I don't think he's in the rotation. I'm not
No.
putting him in right
Yeah,
now.
he's not
He
even-
came in off the bench for CMB in summer league. That I hope I wish him well. We'll see how this all works out. But I think Jacoby, Grady, and CMB. I'm curious to see how those three work. I wish CMB was 6'10", but he's not. Okay.
Yeah.
But there are things though that I will say he does do quite well. I don't think I'm going to worry about him taking 10 threes a night.
No.
Darko saying something stupid like that, like he did to Scotty. That's just silly.
Yeah, and I'm not putting a threshold on the amount of threes, but I think he knows his game. So
Yeah,
say it's 3
I think so
threes
too.
a night. I think he has ways to be productive in a lot of different ways and be effective. I actually, the more that I watch him, the more that I like. But I'm not overhyping him. I know some people are like he's the second best this or whatever. I'm not going in that direction either. I don't think people are obsessed with picking sides. It's not about picking sides. I think he's a good prospect. I think he's probably one of our best prospects overall. If not, he's either probably our top prospect or second best prospect. I don't know where you would rank him.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I don't have Scotty as a prospect anymore.
No.
But it's like Grady and CMB and Jacoby. I
Yeah.
think those are 1, 2, and 3 in some order. It depends on the person.
Yeah,
I
I
like
would put Jacoby just based on summer league. I think Jacoby just does not have the offensive chops that Grady has, though he has the defense. So depending on how you like, he in terms of the when we're looking at prospect and who has the highest ceiling, I between those two, I would say Grady, because I just think that there's things that Grady does offensively and can do offensively that is more difficult for Jacoby to do from a self creation standpoint.
Yeah.
But
Is that beyond? He says he's hopping on.
He is hopping on. So, but I think CMB, if he can hit a 3 on a regular basis, that will be very, very then that's why I have him as my number 1 prospect in terms of those prospect rankings or whatever.
Sorry, Jacoby or CMB?
CMB.
Yeah. I heard Samson and those guys. I think Samson and Scoats talking to them, and most of them, if I remember correctly, I think they have CMB as the number 1 prospect, which is fine. I get it.
Yeah.
The defense does look promising. The way that he is able to move. I worry about the offense, especially at this level, because when we had Tyler on the show, he said, you know what? He didn't shoot that much because he just felt like he could go to the hoop all the time. That's not going to work in the NBA for him. He's going to have to adjust and develop that jump shot. And if he does develop the jump shot and he becomes like a fairly respectable 3-point shooter, I'm going to have to come on and apologize because
I can
say I'm wrong.
His defense is good enough alone to
like
I'll compare him and Mobo. His defense is light years ahead of Mobo, as good as Mobo seems, and
he showed flashes last year. Yeah,
he did, but I think Mobo's really good in specific types of defensive opportunities. And if you don't have, for example, I think it was in Samson's thing, if he's not in switch, then he's not as valuable as a defender. Whereas I think CMB is a lot more versatile as a defender, at least from what I've seen both in his college and beyond tape.
I see Effie had a take here. I kind of agree with Effie. I think Jacoby might be number 1 of the 3 for me. It's not like I think they're all close because they all have a different skill set. I think Jacoby, though, I think there's another level that he can get to.
So there is, but that handle needs to get much better because his ability to kind of on the we'll call it the x-axis, the horizontal plane, is not quite as shifty as it needs to be to really open up the game for him. So until that happens, I have to go with Grady. As much as I love as much as I love his defense, right now I'm viewing it as, in a perfect world, is he KCP. KCP is a damn good player, but KCP is you know what I mean? Like, it's like if I were to pick KCP, or I'm trying to think of like an offensively minded like third option or whatever on a championship. It's just failing me right now. But if you had the equivalent of that, who would you choose to say like that's the higher peak? And to me, KCP is not necessarily like, he's good. He's really good, but he's not someone that I'm having where it's like, oh, in case I have to, can he run an offense? I think that Grady, I'm going to bring beyond in a second. I think Grady is good enough potentially offensively that in a pinch, he can run an offense if given the chance.
Yeah, I think with Grady, it's not the offense. Obviously, I love what he's able to bring offensively.
Yeah.
I worry about him defensively, but I don't worry about Jacoby in the same way. And with CMB, I definitely don't worry about him defensively.
No.
But offensively, obviously we'll have to see how he progresses. But I think Jacoby, I get a little bit of both worlds. So that's why I'm kind of just a little bit higher on him. I think he has another gear to him. Like, I get your KCP comparison. I think Jacoby, though, has a little bit another gear that I think he can get to. But he's got to work on that handle. You're right. But hey, he's got 2 opportunities. Get 2 hands again, said.
Absolutely. And the thing that I'll say is, I think in terms of my KCP, I'm not saying that he is KCP.
Right,
sure,
yeah.
But what I'm saying is the easiest pathway for success for him is right there, right? So if he does nothing else and he just hones in on what he does well right now, that is what ends up happening. Now, I did see, Effie brought up this, and I agree. That's why I said he needs to work on the handle. Right? I'm not pigeonholing him into one specific spot, but what I'm saying is that if he does not work on this, then yes, I would give Grady the nod just because of the offensive ceiling. But yeah, I have to move a vehicular thing. So Beyond, you take it away,
yes.
and I'll be back in literally like 5 minutes if that's okay with
you. Yes, we'll take over. We got you.
Cool.
Beyond, what do you think of the schedule?
Oh wow, man! I heard you guys talking. If we get two games out of that first 10, I would consider that to be a small miracle. I was looking at that schedule. I said the AJ Demansky sweepstakes have begun. Here we go. I mean, I looked at the first 25, and unlike last year's schedule, where it's actually where it was a little more, it was quite unbalanced, where it was extremely rough at the beginning.
Yeah.
Based on just the competition as well as how many games they play on the road. This year, it's not as unbalanced, but it's still pretty. In some ways, I actually think it's a bit tougher in the front part of the season, and the back half they got no favors as well too. So it might be the middle of the season where I haven't looked closely, but it's around Christmas or so they might be able to pick up some stuff there. But like it could go south really quickly based on what I saw in the first 25 games.
Yeah, I have them maybe in the first 10, maybe 1-9. Like I have them probably getting one of those Milwaukee games. They play them twice. So I'm like, you might get Milwaukee, but even Dallas, I'm thinking, well, Kyrie's not playing, but that's in Dallas. That's still AD. That's still Flag. You're a resident Mavericks fan. Lively's going to be – Lively and Gafford are going to be a problem for us. Any athletic bigs are problems for us.
Yeah. And here's where things get interesting from a psychological standpoint with the team. And you as a coach, you understand where I'm coming from with this. How long does – let me put it this way. How long does Brandon keep the faith?
Yeah.
Right? Like at some point, he's not the type of guy who's going to say, like, you know what, I'm just going to kind of roll with the team and stuff like that. At some point, if the L's keep piling up and we're supposed to be doing it, quote, Darko's way, at some point, there's going to be like, you know what? We've tried it your way. I had enough of this. All right? We saw it with Siakam and with Scotty a couple of years ago, where it's like the L's came piling up, and after a while, Siakam said, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to play my game. I am curious to see how long that lasts. Is it 5 games, 10 games, 25 games before, Ingram's kind of playing his game and says, okay, enough of Darko offense? Because that's what I'm going to find fascinating to play all year. To me, that's the most fascinating relationship all year. Scott, not even Scotty and Brandon so much. It's going to be Brandon and Darko.
Yeah. Well, I heard something today. I think it was today, and it was the American analysts. They were talking about how, the Raptors are interesting because they actually have a lot of, I want to say, guys that like to score, but they're going to play in an egalitarian offense. Like RJ likes to score. We know that. Ingram likes to score. Grady likes to score. The guy who we've been talking about a little bit, Jacoby, he likes to get his baskets, right? Even Quickly likes to score. So putting all this together with the type of system that they have it's going to be interesting. I'm not so much, going poo-poo on the system, but you have the players and then you have the system, which Darko loves. It is the Bible for this team, is his system. It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, I spoke to someone today at work. I've said to you guys many of a time, man. I say, when it comes to NBA offense, it's not a democracy.
No, it's a monarchy. Always has been.
Always has been. It's a monarchy. And until Darko gets that realization, he's going to keep piling up a lot of L's. And I know some of my European coaching brethren in this case, or coaches, like to go down this path, and they end up learning the hard way time and time again, man. It's like, look, man, like that might work in this case in Europe, but it ain't working in the NBA. It just isn't, man. the players are too talented, and they can get their own shots in a multitude of ways that maybe you're not used to dealing with. You just got to ride with that a little bit. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, we want to play the Jokic offense in Denver." No, that's the offense of one.
Yeah. Yeah, the egalitarian offense works for a time. I think you can run it for a chunk of a game, but when it gets down to the fourth quarter, you need to know who your guys you got to get the ball to, because it's those guys then who generate the gravity that does open up open shots for other people. And then if you lose because someone took an open shot and they miss, well, that's okay, because that was the best look. How many times have we seen LeBron James do that? He'll get the blame of why aren't you clutch? Well, he just passed it to Mike Miller in the corner. Mike Miller missed an open three, who's like 42% three-point shooter. Yeah, that was the right move.
Exactly. And I think, even though statistically LeBron's one of the best clutch shooters of all time, but I'll leave that for there. Yeah. But yeah. I find it interesting that, to your point, I started thinking about my beloved Pistons and the championship teams we've had play a certain type of offense like that. However, even within that offense, whoever had it going that day, they were, quote, the de facto go-to guy that night. So if Chauncey had it going and they realized that he was going to get the ball late in the game and he would make the plays to see fit, or if Rip had it going, he would do the same thing. Even the bad boy teams, for the most part, yeah, Isaiah will get the ball late, but even some nights, in this case here, Joe Dumars got it going, or they're playing a 3-guard lineup and Vinny's got the microwave on maximum. It's like, we're just feeding Vinny till it cools off. And Vinny might get 35 to us that night. It's like, we riding Vinny home. But to your point, even within those offenses, there is still a pecking order during the game where someone say, okay, this is the dude for today. And I think that's the part where I think Darko doesn't seem to, like, he's be rigid. How many times you watch late game situations where a guy's cooking for the game and then fourth quarter comes, he's not seeing the ball, and they're still running plays as if it's the first quarter. Yeah. And you're sitting there scratching your head like, come on, guys. Why are we running like a DHO for Pirtle right now? Are we serious? Are we serious? In the fourth quarter is what we're doing? Yeah. And pick whatever guy you want, Gray, Scotty, whoever's got going, and we're running DHOs to get Pirtle free for some type of for some type of go screen that he's gonna run down the lane. Like anybody on the defensive end or whoever coaching is saying, let me see, I have the option of making sure Scotty's not in the paint, Gray's not attacking us, or RJ doing RJ things, or I got Pirtle. Hey, let me see which one I'm going to take from a defensive perspective.
Yeah. But this is a big year for everybody all around, not just the players, not just, is Ingram, was this the right move? Is Ingram legit a 25-point per game scorer? Is Scotty, is he the franchise guy? Is Darko an NBA coach?
Well, I think
there's a lot of narratives to this year, how important it is.
Yeah. Well, I think the questions to your point in this case will get answered very shortly once we have a new president of basketball operations, because that's who's going to answer the questions, right? When he starts reviewing what this team looks like, including his coaching staff and his GM, assuming it's not Bobby Webster as the new president, he's going to start making assessments of like, you know what? Yeah, and usually when these guys start doing their things, it usually starts off with first a couple small items, right? So in this case, like take your buddy over there, Tolsman, which is not small. Scouting is not small, but from a standpoint of how people view things,
Yeah. Nope. I think we have our host back.
I'm back. Sorry, what did I missed.
You came just at the right time as Beyond had to. Now he's back.
Okay. What did Beyond say?
We're just talking about the narratives of this season of we're going to find out a lot of things. Is Ingram, for one, a legit number one scoring option? Is Scotty a franchise guy? Is Darko an NBA coach? Like, I'm talking not go out and coach, the Washington Wizards. Is he legit a coach who you can contend with moving forward?
Contend with is a lot.
Well, let's say build now. Let's just go upwards. Maybe it's not like contend next year. I don't mean that, but like
in 5, 10, 20.
Can you in 2 years? Can you in 2 years be a top 5 team?
I guess I was saying was those questions that Coach put out there are going to be answered by the next president of basketball operations. And I was mentioning that usually when these guys come in, they'll start with a smaller move in the sense of like from a face, like a visual type of thing where people like the fans and stuff don't notice. Where they'll start saying, you know what, we're gonna start.
Yeah, it's like an Ochai move.
Well, not even that. They'll start adjusting the scouting department, right?
Right.
And he starts saying, oh, okay, right? It's like there, boom. Then next thing you know, it's like so-and-so, Mr. Tolsman in this case has been reassigned. All right, then boom. Then then the big stones start dropping at that point. Bobby, it's been fun. You know, then Darko, it's been fun. Then we start to your point. Then we get to the real brass tacks, which is, you know, when it comes to personnel, yeah, we'll start with a small Ochai and stuff like that. But
I think an Ochai move would come just because the person's going to be shifted this close to the season. I don't think like a Bobby move is going to be shifted that early.
No. But the Ochai move, like to me, Ochai is like how Boucher was last year. Like if you're any executive worth the grain of salt, you would have made a Boucher move immediately
like that.
Right. So it's like just low hanging fruit, right? It's like okay, Ochai.
That's what I'm saying. It's an easy way to just give yourself breathing room to not have to worry about like, okay, we have to, because you don't want to get to everyone knows that you have to get under the tax, right? So like you don't want to get to the deadline and then teams are raking you over the coals because they know that you have to get under the tax.
They know, that's the thing, which means your value goes down because they know.
I think there's a couple of guys right now when the new president of basketball operations comes in, whatever the case may be, unless it's Bobby, you know, I put that caveat there that if to your point, if I'm in certain roster spots, I would be pretty much having my bags available and packed because I think Ochai would be one. I think Mogbo's the other one. That if I'm like, okay, what's a quick move that I can kind of clear some space out here quick? Mogbo is duplication. I don't need you. It's been fun.
I'm going to defend Bobby just a little bit. Not to say I'm advocating for him at all in any way, shape, or form, because I'm not. But I will say there is a world where, in theory, he wanted to kind of be more aggressive over the past couple of years with certain moves and certain decisions. And maybe because he wasn't making the ultimate decision. I mean, if you go back and listen to the press conferences where he would speak and then Masai would speak, you would always hear, you know, one person and then another person, and there'd be this kind of dueling, call it thought process, so to speak. So, yeah.
There's a disconnect between the two. I remember the trade deadline one year, Masai said, well, yeah, it wasn't too busy. Nothing really going on. And then Will Lou interviewed Bobby. He said, well,
yeah,
wasn't on my phone. Wasn't that way.
It's like,
so,
it's like,
and I'm just like, okay, there's a disconnect here. And we've seen it time and time again. It's just.
And that's not me saying that like he should get the job or anything like that. You know where I stand on that. I think just clear out. But I think you might see more movement than you would think when he's allowed to actually make a move. In other words, when we hire a president of basketball operations, whether it's him or not, it's like get to work.
Well, yeah, if the president of basketball operations comes in, then Bobby Webster's mindset is going to be whatever the boss wants. So I get that. If he is the one, the president of basketball operations, that's why. One second, I put the caveat on it. I'll be back in a second, guys. 1 second here, but I put the caveat on here.
So as while we wait for Beyond to just to come back here, what I'll say is this, right? Is if it's Bobby, the way that I see it happening is that he, through his media sources, has disseminated information that he was not the state of the current team is not the state that he wanted the team to be in, which makes things interesting. So I get the sense, if you also look back at the Pelly interview and take it all into one, is that management over the years might have been more comfortable waiting another year on this rebuild, and the rebuild was accelerated. So we might be in a situation where, first of all, you might not have a choice. But also, if things go belly up early, like if we're 2-8, and then unless we go on a run where we only win 4 more games, or and then we go basically 4-6, right, to start the season, that's not good enough. That's not good enough.
Expectations have gone up, which they should. Quite honestly, you can't be a 12th place team again next year. You can't play for 11th place.
Unless it's on purpose.
You're going all in for the play-in tournament. I hate to say that, but you are. This is probably a play-in team. quite frankly. And I think they got the American guys like Windhorse and McMahon. They made the joke like, "Oh, this is an all-in playing team." Yeah, you're not wrong about that. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I
I'm
mean,
not saying that's such a bad thing
but
either because you can't finish 12th again. That's out of the
Beyond is
question.
you've muted yourself, so I can't. You have to unmute yourself. There you
I'll say this. Going back, I heard you guys earlier talking about the over under from Vegas at 35.
go. 37 and a half.
37 and a half. Okay, I got them at
So
35.
I as I said, it's gone. It's actually gone up. It was 35 and a half, and it's gone up.
Yeah, I'll stick at 35.
I'm between 35 and 38.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with my number, which is 40. So I even bumped it down during this live. I said 39 if they keep the team together. But like in terms of what actually happens, I don't know, because if you start off the season in that first 20 games and it's anywhere remotely close to this season, they're not pushing forward. It's that do not pass go, do not collect your $200. And that is a completely different situation where I don't care what your name is or how noble you think that your cause is, you are sitting.
Well, I tell you one thing, boy, I'm looking forward to my man VJ cooking these dudes, in this case, the first couple of weeks, man.
It's true. So, Bjorn, I'm going to ask you, say things go well, how would that happen for you in your mind?
Things go well. I think
Say they won the 41 games. So we're not going with some people's 50-win team or whatever, because
honestly, I think that's it depends how they get to the 41 games. That's what it depends on me. If the
41 games is a positive 41 games, what does that look like to you?
Yeah, I'll say this: like 41 games to me means all of a sudden one of the guys that are like one of the I guess rookie level players has elevated their game where they're now a key function of us winning games. So if it's Grady, if it's Jacoby, all of a sudden now kind of flip the switch and they're now one level more than we thought, or even two levels perhaps, where they made a jump like, oh, to me, and we're winning something like 40 games. I'm like, okay, cool. If the 40-something games now is being won by we're just running more pick and rolls with Pirtle, and Brandon Ingram's going to take about 30 shots a night to go and get 22 points. I don't know if I'm feeling, and Scotty's still doing Scotty things. I'm not really feeling warm and fuzzy about 40-something.
Okay, so again, if it's kind of the same, the status quo, you don't feel good, and then the case that it is good is that roles are changing essentially.
Yeah, like if one
and changing early.
Like even CMB, if he also pops more than I ever thought, like, hey man, I'll be the first one. I will drink and toast and bow down to the great CMB if that happens.
But if I might have to as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. If he pops, I'm not sitting here rooting for him not to pop, but if he pops, right. Exactly. If he pops, I want to watch decent basketball too. I want to be sitting around here for 82 games the winter watching, slush. I hope that, I like watching young players play well. So if he pops, that would be great. And it's like, okay, that gives us a lot of flexibilities on a whole bunch of myriad of ways. I'll just leave it at that. But if he pops, hello, we got something we cooking with.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think health is going to be very key if you're reaching 40 wins. This team has to be remotely healthy. It's going to take some time, though, because it's not like Ingram was here before and you added in someone else to the offense. You're adding a number one option into an offense, and that's going to take a little bit of time to get used to. So I do expect some growing pains. I'm assuming everybody's healthy.
There's also a number of guys that have not necessarily overlapping skill sets, but in terms of where they like to take the ball when the ball's in their hands, there's a lot of overlap with that. And I don't think that that's kind of been touched upon by even some of the better analysts in Raptors land. I think a lot of people are taking the assumption that it works out rather than, in terms of from an offensive standpoint, you like the ball here. I need to get out of the way at this time. These are chemistry things that I'm kind of alluding to. So, for example, Scotty works best out of the post. I heard this, shout out to the Raptors Republic guys, but he was number 3 in terms of field goal attempts from the post in terms of the post fadeaway. As reference his stuff directly, Trey referenced and said, um, he basically takes the Matt Bonner approach, and he's saying that the fadeaway is good, but it needs to be the counter, right? And I agree with that, right? It does need to be the counter.
2 years ago, in this case, hello. Okay.
I know. We know. No, you and I have talked about this.
That's what I'm saying. I'm listening here. Listening.
We talked about it when the Ultimate Weapon was playing in Miami.
Right. Exactly. I'm glad they came along on the train ride. Welcome to the club, Trey. It's good to see you guys came along for the ride. Now that's good to hear.
To be fair, Bonner was not on the air then, so
Well, I got nothing with Matt Bonner. He's a professional player. He knows what he's talking about. So,
yes.
But yeah, go. Yeah, please continue. I want to hear more. I'm liking what I'm hearing.
So I agree with that. That can't be the case. You can't over rely on the mid range, because the problem is that Brandon Ingram's best place on the floor is in the mid range, and then a lot of people seem to really, really, really harp on RJ from an offensive standpoint. But I don't think that from an offensive standpoint. Now, I have my own issues with RJ defensively, but offensively, I have no issue with RJ. Because RJ, at least how he was used last year, is more of a slasher and a cutter around these guys. Now, and he doesn't necessarily work in the mid-range because his optimal spot is not in the mid-range.
No, but RJ was asked to do everything last year because of all the injuries. He has to play point guard. He was asked to be the guy. He was asked to space sometimes. When Ingram is here on this team and everybody's healthy, RJ has to be almost elite at catch and shoot.
Yes.
And he has to get back to being a very good cutter.
And he needs to finish around the hoop at a much higher level.
And finish, yeah, because that's going to be key for that role for him. Because with adding Ingram, it's the role definition has changed.
Yes.
So that's going to be key for RJ. It's also going to be key for Grady too. Grady has to be an elite catch and shoot 3-point shooter. Some of his numbers were down a little bit for Grady, but Grady's got to bring those numbers up, which I know he can do. But this team needs it from him as well.
But I'm not as worried about Grady though. But yeah, sorry.
You're gonna ask a question. Yeah. Do you think in this case here that teams will defend Ingram in a way that they would defend, like, I mean, let's put it this way. Do you think teams will defend Ingram as if he's like a serious number one option where they're double teaming him?
Yeah, why not? Because when I take away that, then what else do you have?
Yeah. So you're saying they will try to double team him?
I think some teams will, yeah, for sure. I mean, again, like if I take away Ingram, like, it depends on the team, obviously, right? Like if it's OKC, like why like I'm not changing anything for you. Respectfully.
I think there's a scenario that people haven't considered yet with Ingram yet. Right? And it's like one of these things where it's like we've seen Ingram pretty much in a role where he's playing usually alongside Zion. Right? For
not as much because
not as much
those years.
Well, that's what I'm about to get to.
Yeah.
When he's not playing with Zion, I watched those Pelican games. They weren't double teaming Ingram. Now, if he got hot, they'll double team him, but they weren't sitting here the moment the game started. Like, okay, how are we dealing with Ingram? Like they're dealing with Jokic or LeBron.
No.
So I just want Raptor fans to realize what we're dealing with here. It's going to be a wait and see attitude for most defenses when it comes to Ingram. If he's not feeling it, they're just going to play him straight up or maybe shade a guy at most. And the reason why I bring this up is that Mr. Barnes, in this case, where he had his great 3-point shooting, little exploits, he's playing with a guy commanding double team the post that had to get one and got easy looks from it. Shot about 30% from the three. So the
other thing is that Ingram doesn't. He has a decent post game, but he doesn't establish himself in the post. He moves into
one of the things I'm getting to. So how is he going to play off of Scotty or vice versa? Scotty play off of him because if Scotty get clean enough looks so you can kind of set his feet and do all you got to do for that slow release to get the three off. Because if Ingram's not getting respect in this case to be demanding a double team in any particular spot unless he gets hot, I'm curious to see how Scotty's numbers look playing with him when it comes to the three.
The easiest way for it to work between those two is you have to put those two in a lot of pick and roll actions, and Scotty needs to be a screener and a really good roller. And when he does that, then that shifts the defenses, because if defenses start hedging for the roll, it opens up his mid-range game.
So, I mean, you mentioned Scotty's lack of interest of being a screener.
Not in this one. I just said that's what I'm just telling you.
I'm just saying what you observed in this case previously.
In the past, yes, I don't think he is the most apt screener or whatever. I think it's something that he did more under Nurse than he is now. Yeah,
exactly. Now to add to that, which you're leading to my other point, my man Darko don't like to run PNR.
I think he does that on purpose because I think in some ways I think Darko has learned his personnel. Now that doesn't bode well. But yeah, do you want me to explain?
No, I know what you're saying, but I don't know if he's actually learned his personnel enough, or in this case, or he's learned his personnel for other folks, but he's not willing to experiment with other folks trying that. Let's put it that way.
I guess what I'm saying is the reason why we do DHO versus PNR, in my opinion, is because we don't have the speed with the athletes so far as we've seen. And so it's giving those guys an extra little bit of a runway to have that advantage as they're going downhill, because Scotty's third step is a lot better than his first step. He does not really have like a first step where he's just like jumping past dudes, right? So that's why you have the DHO for a lot of these guys. Now, the question is Ingram a much better pick and roll ball operator? It is, yes, but the question is by how much?
Right. But I mean, based on how bad our pick and roll operation is with the guys we give pick and roll opportunities to, I think Ingram's going to be exponentially better than most of them. Here's one guy, for example, what I say about that. Like, for example, do they even try Grady in pick and roll? No. What I'm saying. So certain guys get the opportunity to try.
And on that.
Darko gets the decision to say, you know what, you shouldn't be playing pick and roll. Fine, you don't think Sky should be playing pick and roll. I'm fine with that. I agree with that. But at the same time, he doesn't give opportunities for other guys to play pick and roll. But
the question is that partially also because of the lack of willing screeners? Because, like, for example, if you have CMB is a natural, like, you could tell he likes to make contact with the screen. Actually, Ibaka was bad at that initially. Like, Ibaka had times when he would hedge the screen, and it took him a little bit of time to just really walk a dude into it.
Because Ibaka was looking for a shot. That's the reason why.
True, but you need to be doing both, right? So
because he knew that his man number 7 was going to get him that nice 18-foot sweet jump shot. He would try to say, you know, they can set no pick and roll. And Lowry knew that in this case. Lowry's like, all right, just go and walk through the motions. We know where this is going to end up.
True. You know, so but. If you could have that, right? Like, you need basically outside of Pirtle, you need someone else who can really screen well and roll well, right? Okay. And not half it. I'm just trying to say, like, I'm with you. I'm just trying to say, is there a pathway to make it work?
Right. So to your point, I will hope this year, based on the fact that both will be the second unit, that we'll see some CMB Grady's pick and rolls. That would be interesting.
Well, that's what we were just mentioning earlier as well. Like, I'm curious to see Jacoby, Grady, and CMB.
Yes. Me too.
I hope those 3 are in the next 5. I mean, I wouldn't want to have Ochai in the mix there too, because you're getting pretty small then.
Well, I would move off the Ochai, because even if you think about it, he's more of a 3 that's an undersized 3 at 6'4". Jacoby's bigger than him. Grady's bigger than him. And CMB, even though he has size issues himself, is bigger than him. So at that point, where does he fit in? Unless it's not like you have Malawatch there, or someone who is, reasonably skilled, experienced, and ready. Unless this is the Ochai, not Ochai. Unless this is the Chomsky show, right? Like, all of a sudden, Chomsky
not yet.
Chomsky
need another year
this year.
I don't.
I wouldn't bank on that.
I respectfully disagree with my friend in this case here, man. I don't know how I become the whisperer. Hey, man, I'm down for it. I'm now the whisperer because I am ready for that experience. Put him in there.
I am down for him, but I've been saying for a year now. He needs 2 years.
Yes, I'm of the mindset that Chomsky's going to get minutes. Those minutes will sometimes look good and sometimes not look so good.
That's what I'm saying. Put him in. He can't learn anymore in the G League.
No.
He can't.
No.
So just bring him up there and play in the minutes. Who we got? We got the Smurfs playing behind Pirtle. Man, let the kid play. Mm-hmm. He's going to make mistakes, so be it. And the thing is, I cracked up when they finally played him. They played him against arguably the second best center in the league. It's like, that's where we're going to throw him in there. They were playing him against, in this case here, like, I don't know. Let's say one of the one of the what's the boys' names?
Like Utah when they were playing like John Collins at center. Or
Or
something
John
like
Collins or Plumlee brothers or something. No, they
Right.
don't want to put him against that. They're like, no, we're gonna put him up against Embiid. I'm like, are you serious?
He
And he
did
look
fine.
that bad. He
did
didn't
do
look
fine.
that bad.
Defensively, I'm not worried about him. Offensively, I think he's got a lot of work to do, and I think his game is very just. This isn't a diss to him, but it's part of like where he is in his development. It's predictable.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm old school. Maybe because I've watched so many guys. In this case, the old school guys were just predictable dudes that you just knew what they came out there to do. That in the modern day NBA, that seems kind of like almost like a slur. Like, oh my gosh, it's like they're predicting. I just remember dudes like that.
It's what happens when he's then scouted, because then you have. So it's like my only question is how quickly does are they just learning at like, hey, we're gonna make your game predictable so that you have some go-to things this year, and then like
okay, I got one. I got something for you too. Oh boy, Coach will kill me with this one. I got something for you too. Is a better experience to try to have Jomchi in this case learning from here and what his mistakes may be versus what we do at Precious Achua.
Which is what do we do with Precious again? Oh well, yeah. I mean,
he was a liability too on offense, and we rode we rode that experience till the wheels fell off.
That was an experience and a half.
To the playoffs, we've had him roll out there, pulling up for like KD from three. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying that I want that, right? Like, I'm just saying there are times when I think that, and keep in mind, I was higher on Chomchi than you all last year.
It's also I'm the whisperer. Hello, Chomchi.
Oh no, I thought it was me.
You too, Coach.
No, you're the whisperer technically.
Coach is the highest.
I'm taking a coaching perspective and say I've seen a lot of, not at obviously the NBA level, but a lot of players who it's almost like when they first get introduced to basketball and you say, man, that guy's got some talent. And he was like that predictable, great athlete acting on instinct, no skills. That's what it looked like. This year, it's got to be a mixture of both. It's got to be the instinct, but you got to see more skills from him.
So let me give the argument the other way. Last year,
he's now 1 year away from being,
1 year away.
Raw last year, and they threw him up against MB. He didn't look out of place in that game in this case. He had even mixed it up with MB. So he wasn't backing down from anybody. This year in the preseason, you could make an argument he's probably their most consistent player.
Oh, you mean Summer League?
In Summer League.
Yeah.
So,
if
we're just any other first-year player that they had 1 year in there say, hey, you know what? You made strides in year two. Okay, come up to the big club. I don't see what he did in this case that just discouraged anyone saying, you know what? He needs some more season in the G League. For what?
No. I don't think he needs more seasoning. It's just, okay, how many, here it is. How many minutes do you think he's going to play off the bench?
Give him 8 minutes, 10
See, I have 10.
Yeah.
But I think that the remaining, say, 15 that are going to go to the other guy, to Mamu, which is why Coach was saying earlier that we're going to at times be undersized.
So this is why, oh my gosh, this team drives me up the freaking wall, man, sometimes, seriously. I don't understand. So we just dragged a dude off the street, in this case, from Europe, in this case here. All of a sudden now we're going to say, hey, dude, we're going to give all the minutes to you, considering the guy we just took a draft pick from.
Wait, who?
Mamu in this case here, what I'm saying.
He's not from Europe.
Well, wherever he's from in this case here. My man rolls in here, and it literally just came off the truck. In this case, we're saying, hey, sure, we're going to give you all the minutes. I thought we're investing in Chomchi. Are we investing in Chomchi, or are we not investing in Chomchi?
We're also probably going to try. I mean, to be fair,
all the damn time with this franchise, man.
But I think the expectations have changed after the Ingram trade. I'm not saying I disagree with you or anything, but I don't know if they feel comfortable in doing that.
And Mamu's played for 5 years. At this point,
I think he's backing up Pirtle, and I'm not even saying I like that a whole lot because I think we're too small off the bench. I said that the first game on the show.
So hold on, Mamu's played 5 years now. At 6'9" now, we're gonna play him at center. What the hell's he done in this case in his 5 years that also I should have this great confidence?
Okay, to be fair, on Basketball Reference, he's listed at 6'11".
Man, the hell he's like 6'11", my friend. Why you stand up, man? What do you think I am?
I'll take your. This is what you always say. You add two. So he's 6'11" with shoes, right?
Okay, 6'11" with shoes. Fair enough. He's 6'11" with shoe. But I'm not supposed to believe that we're going to drag him in here when all of a sudden we found this gym that no one else in the NBA seemed to find. And he's the dude that's supposed to take up all these minutes over Chauncey, who we invested time in. This is what I don't get. And the idea we have Ingram, therefore we can't still play Chauncey. I thought we are trying to win. To coach's point, we need size.
So what is the bench unit that you're playing?
The bench unit I'm playing is the 3 rookies or the 3 kids you all just mentioned, and my man right there, Chauncey's getting 10 minutes.
Okay, so Chauncey gets 4. Who's your 5th starter?
Yeah, who are the 5th starter? Whoever is part of the rotation for the 5th
So is
guy.
it Ochai for you or no?
Well, I'm not saying I'm playing a hockey lineup in this case. It might be a starter, actually.
Well, you're probably going with Shed then.
Right. Oh, yeah, Shed. And I'm probably going with Shed if I'm going to play a hockey lineup. Those are my 5 guys.
And if it's not a hockey lineup, are you mixing Ingram into that lineup? Because that would be interesting, actually.
Yes, I would in this case. If we're done
now
with
you
Shed.
have something interesting where it's Ingram and
Yes.
But now Ingram is gonna Ingram back. My neck.
Well, they traded for him, so he should know what the deal was.
Yeah, they also paid him, enough. That Rich Paul even said, we weren't going to get this money in the thing. So, I mean, you got to earn your money.
Well, here's the thing. I don't even know if he has to play with the second unit. Quite honestly, with how that unit is, based on how well RJ played with Grady, may I throw RJ with that group?
Potentially.
Yeah. And it's like, here we go. You got a guy can get the hoop. In this case, he can draw fouls, so therefore he can sustain you in an offense if you get a drought.
So you start RJ and then pull him quickly.
Yeah, he's first guy getting pulled, and then he plays the second unit. Well, yeah. Right? But, to me, I'm like, listen, man, are we investing in the young fellas or are we not investing in young fellas? Why are we bringing a dude off the street in this case and all of a sudden give him a whole bunch of minutes? And
who's the best starter to have with that 3-man, or let's say we'll add Chauncey with the 4-man unit?
4-man unit with those guys. Honestly, there's 2 possibilities. You could play Scotty with them because now you have 2 guys in the wings that can shoot with Grady and with Jacoby. I know you're thinking of CMB. It's going to be kind of dicey, but
it's doable, but it's
doable, right? Because let's face it. If you play the Scotty
I wouldn't have Scotty handling the ball in that one. Maybe Grady.
Well, fair enough. That might not be the ideal thing with that standpoint.
Probably quickly for me.
Quickly is the other possibility, but quickly don't share the ball.
That's
my problem with quickly, right? That's why we don't want quickly. That's the reason why I like RJ. If Ingram's never able to stand up upright, I'll take that. And the third option is probably Scotty. But I'm not playing quickly that unit. I tell you that much. He is
the most interesting to me is Ingram, and I didn't even think about it until today.
Yeah, because if you're playing the old-fashioned 9-man lineup and you put one starter with them, it would be RJ or Ingram.
That's why I'm saying, because Jamison Battle, it's like, okay, but he's a 13th man on a roster, right? People are gonna say like I don't know if he's still here, but he would normally say AJ Lawson.
No, man.
You know what I mean? Which, by the way, shout out to him. He was at Taco Fest.
All right. Man, those guys are playing. Those guys are playing horse. No, man, we talking serious. If these dudes want to win, they want to be supposedly, a playing
top
team.
6 team.
Yeah, them dudes can't be showing up on in the crowd. They can't be showing up on the court. Like that. So, to me, it's either the 10-man unit with Shed, or if Shed's out. I'm not necessarily saying I want Shed out, but if it's not, then put Ingram, RJ with those 4 dudes. But I am not going out here sitting here and going to play. I don't know why the Raptors do this all the time. Want to complicate things? They just drag a guy out the street in this case and throw him in the rotation. Didn't we do that 2 years ago, Coach? Didn't we grab someone else 2 years ago as a center and it just out of the blue?
Well, Mamu does give him that stretch 5 component. I mean,
what? You know who he is? He's homeboy that they're trying to beg to play last year from Sacramento. That's essentially the role he's trying to play. Remember, he said, "I'm good. I'm gonna go home."
Oh, Sasha Vasenko.
Yeah, you forgot. Yeah, you forgot. They tried that one last year too. They fooled your boy.
People don't talk about it anymore. No. But like people really thought he was going to play. Really thought he was going to play.
He was going to play. They were right to think so because Dark was going to find a way to shoehorn him in. Dark would have found a way to shoehorn him in. Trust me when I say
I didn't think he was going to play, to be honest.
They were literally
there was a moment where I thought he could play, and if he is, but also I was like, as soon as I saw those reports from Europe, so I'm like, I don't know.
The promises they probably made that dude to come and stay here in his contract. In this case, he still said, I'm good. No, man.
Yeah.
Darko wanted that dude. He wanted that dude in there. And he finally got his man this year. Okay, so no, they ain't fooling me. They might fool y'all. They ain't fooling your boy here beyond, man. I know exactly what they're up to. Nah, man. Play the Chomsky and give him the dang 10 minutes, man. let's ride, man.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just don't think they'll do that. I think they still see him another year. I'm just going by what Darko said, too. They say, yeah, he's a 2-year project. So I think he'll be going to the G League eventually. Maybe they'll have him up for a bit before the G League guys have to report. But
to me, with Chomsky, I think that they'll have him on the bench, but he's going to play exactly what Beyond said. He says 8, I say 10. And I would keep him fresh for the bench just in case, just give him consistent minutes, even if it's 5 minutes, but it's a consistent minutes. Like, this is your roll card. You're getting 5 minutes a night, and win or lose, well, you're getting 5 minutes. It should be about that, not trying to force feed a win.
Yeah, because it's gonna be different though this year because Darko's under a lot of pressure to win games. It ain't good.
Who put that on him?
Well, Masai and Bobby did by getting Ingram.
Oh, according to the report, it wasn't Bobby. It was Masai. Bobby stayed out of that one too because it was too personal.
Darko can't have another year that they had last year. I know people say they were tanking and all kinds of different. He can't have another year like that. No coach survives, but only Brett Brown. But that's it.
You can have a year like that because you are currently gainfully employed.
Yeah.
So unless you are
what you want. Job, in this case here, if you play,
you don't have a decision on that.
Yeah, I'll just say I'll put it this way: the last thing with Chomsky, I sometimes do miss the old school philosophy. I remember in this case here, hearing stories with Chuck Daly, pretty much when he had Dennis Rodman, and said, "Here's your job, pretty much. You see that ball, just go after that ball and just pass it to number 11. Okay, that's what you need to do. That's it. Pretty much. The story.
It's the old school Dwayne Casey roll card type thing.
Yes.
And I think regardless of 0.5, the philosophy of basketball type stuff, regardless, you need a where the culture needs to go and needs to be set is this is the role that you're doing. So for the first couple games, I'll put it this way. When I listen to LeBron and Melo and McGrady and all those type of guys talk on their respective podcasts, they always talk about knowing where they're going to get their, where their spots are and how to get them and stuff like that. And then once they get to that level, they can then start experimenting with, okay, I'm going to go left, I'm going to go right, I'm going to go like a half step in, but you need to find something that goes to people's comfort zones. So for example, for CMB, I don't mind them experimenting in the summer league. However, once you get into the actual, come preseason time, I do not want to see him launching 10 threes. I would be very disappointed in that. I want to see, sure, he can launch some threes, but you need to see a mixture of what works, especially if you're serious about winning.
I would just say
and building winning habits.
Right. If he was a guard or a wing in this case here, and he was still raw,
I think he's still a wing. But you're talking about Chomsky.
I would be more concerned about playing him because to your point, all of a sudden he's going to throw off the odds and he might be checking up shots. Perhaps that's the issue. When you're a big, you gotta just tell him, listen, man, you see that ball there? Just go rebound that ball. Don't matter where it is, rebound the ball. Just box out, rebound. That's it. All right. If you happen to get one wide open shot, shoot it. That's it. Nothing else. Simple stuff and screen.
Well, there is one thing that should give, I'll say particularly you, encouragement about Chomsky, and maybe all of us, I guess. They passed on Malowatch for him. More or less.
You just made that's the most succinct point of the whole night. They passed Malowatch. So what, we gonna bring a dude off the street in this case to eat the minutes up when you passed on Malowatch? Well, what are we doing? Start giving me the mixed signals, man. I don't have to say nothing more. That alone says everything. They passed on Malowatch, which means in this case, he's that dude. If he's that dude, just play him, man. He can't do that much damage in 10 minutes. I'm sorry. I watched the kid play enough in summer league. It's he'll be fine. It ain't making it sound like Darko's got algebra or something. Or he's doing trigonometry or something like that.
But you agree that Mamu's also going to play.
Well, no, I know so. That's why I'm so kind of like just hot about it, because I'm saying he shouldn't.
You don't want him to play. You're
No,
just
he
like,
shouldn't be on the team. As far as I'm concerned,
right?
He shouldn't be on the team. That's what I'm saying. He shouldn't even be on the team. Like that, I thought those Miz were going to go the thing Chomsky once we pass on mouthwash. Okay, to coach's point, we're going to ride this bus. Let's see what's about. I see next thing you know, about 3-4 days later, we got to pick a random dude off the street. Like, what? What we do? Huh? Like, like that. Like, it's like, it's not that hard, man. See, the Raptors always they're like dealing with trigonometry. They're just so sophisticated that it takes them so much time for a fellow to understand their system. Like, give me a freaking break, man. The system's not too complicated, guys. It really is not.
I think the most likely outcome again is the first. The fans should kind of know what this team is in the first 10 games, but realistically you need to see 20 games, because 20 games gets close to when the trade moratorium is on. So whatever this team is, you will know very early on. Like if they're just getting the brake speed off them, where like, like all of a sudden it's like, man, oof, right? And that's happening like early on and stuff like that. The wheels will fall off, and they will fall off very quickly, because they have not a big piece. The Brandon Ingram piece has not been established yet on this team. And the thing that we're not even talking about, that none of you have talked about, no one has talked about actually, is that Brandon Ingram. What version of Brandon Ingram are we going to get? Considering
I did make that suddenly. I said so with the top of the double teams.
Yeah,
because I don't know exactly, because ain't no one's gonna be going out there thinking they're playing like prime Melo and out there doubling him. Hell no.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Brandon Ingram came off a year where he was injured for a sizable portion of the year. So
he had a 7-month ankle injury.
Yes, and recently, within the past month, just got cleared to start contact drills and stuff like that. So again, there's a world where he comes in and he's good. I think he's going to be middling, like I think he's going to be a solid player. But I mean, and let me put it this way: my high end for this team, where everything goes well, does not involve people getting All NBA. That's just me personally. I know some people have projected that. I don't think that we can project that with so many unknowns.
Who's All NBA on this team?
Not a single person.
Another day on Basketball Rewind, another episode.
Yeah, mark my words, folks. I'm saying it right now. When they'll slip this in sometime in September, folks, and listen out for it. They're going to slip it in there real quickly. Brandon Ingram will not be playing back-to-backs. Trust me when I say so.
Oh,
no. You're going to hear them put that little sucker out real quiet one day on a Friday.
Yeah. Now, the over-unders, just before we get out of here, last thing, were there any that you thought should have been lower or higher?
I haven't really looked at all of them. I just, to be honest with you, so I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Like, do you think 42 for Philly is fair? Or is that a little bit too high?
That's all conducive on Embiid.
Well, it's two things actually.
Also, Paul George is just going to be recovering from knee surgery.
Yeah, that tells me they're very high on my man. That's all I got to say for 42 minutes. Luck, folks, for the show.
Fair enough. Any final shots before we had the stream, because we've been live for a while. We've done a bunch of things, talked about a bunch of topics. Obviously, people like, comment, and subscribe as well. But yeah, any final thoughts?
Well, my blood pressure is doing quite well, so I had to start talking about this team again. But
hey, eventually we got to talk about them.
I know eventually.
And you know what? I think that there are interesting things to talk about. Like, I've tried to
no doubt
at least entertain I've tried to at least entertain the potential for them to be good, and outline and I'm trying to be fair, right? Like, I'm trying to say, like, hey, like, it's not easy to turn this team into a solid team. There is a pathway for it. The thing that I'm looking for on a night-to-night basis is, how are they winning? Right. So, like, if we're still doing the Scotty's going to ISO every single game, 20 games in, I will want to turn off the TV.
I might pull my eyeballs out.
Right.
This is a big year for him.
But you know what I mean? But if they're doing that, that's why one of the biggest debates, we'll talk about it another day, but it's like, can Scotty have a more fit in role where he's taking so much usage down. But because I think some people feel as though the efficiency is going to be so high that he will somehow score more points than 20. I think for me, there's nothing wrong with him scoring 18 points very efficiently, and that actually might lead to more wins, especially if everything else is going well. I don't want to focus too much on the box score aspect of Scotty's game, though.
Scotty scores 20 plus points, got eat by Raptors hat. Put a little salt and pepper on it.
Fair enough. You might want to add caveats on that because it could happen. Because if Ingram's out, he might have to score.
No, because last year he couldn't do it. And he had less talent around him where he could get all the shots he wanted, and his numbers went down 1 point. So why should I feel in this case it can be any better? And I tell you one thing: them young boys ain't playing to respect him this year. I'll tell you that right now. My man Jacoby ain't waiting. I tell you that right now.
Fair enough.
Grady might do that. Jacoby ain't doing that.
The way I look at it is just like if we're healthy and we're relatively going, I more so see Scotty doing the 18-point thing and taking a step back because, as Bobby said, Ingram liked to shoot. This dude liked to pass. So if the dude that don't like to pass, why is he suddenly going to be scoring more? He might do it what he does more efficiently, but everyone keeps talking about the role that he did was best when he had he was a second or third option, sometimes fourth option. So if that's the pathway that they're going towards, then why do I expect a second, third, or fourth option on a team that won 30 wins last year? Yes, I know some people are going to say that is a skewed metric, whatever. It's not really. Up until February, we weren't winning a ton of games either. So at some point, like, what happens when that's the case? I don't know. And it's not all on him. It's on a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Well, I'll just say this one last thing. Leo Routens, I thought he hit the nail on the head. He said, how many guys in the history of the league are franchise guys who are not scorers? The only one I can think of, that's Magic Johnson. That's a pretty exception to the rule. But he also hit Kareem the first few years there. I'm not trying to knock Scotty, but you gave him the franchise tag. You got rid of all the guys for him. And that's, it is what it is at the end of the day. But we're going to see this year a little bit more of what is he?
So yeah, pretty much like Wes Unseld, Magic Johnson, Steve Nash.
In the history of the league?
Yeah, Isaiah just tempered down his offense so he could bring more guys involved. But Isaiah was like a 21 point per game scorer in this case before, they started bringing more talent around him. So I guess you could maybe call him. So yeah, so you have like arguably the best point guard ever played, a 2-time MVP and one of the best 50 players maybe ever in this case in Steve Nash. Arguably the best little small man in this case, not named Steph Curry, but arguably, I might say even with Steph Curry, has ever played the game.
Yeah.
And Wes Unseld in this case, which was one of the most fearsome in this case rebounders in this case that led the team to a championship. Okay, cool. Cool. And probably you want to throw in there. I think he was pretty close, but he too maybe in this case. That was going back to how we started the egalitarian offense. So maybe the 70s Knickerbockers because they, because guys that could score 20 points like Earl the Pearl could light it up. They pulled back their offense for reading others. So that might be another one. But those guys are all capable of scoring when need be.
I'll ask this to be on because I've already asked Coach this already, and then we'll end here. If things don't go well, because if things go well, obviously it's a whole different story. But if things don't go well, and like I don't know how many games that you have them winning over the first 20. Did you say already?
I said that. I said for the first 10 they might win 2 at most. I think the first 20 or 25.
And then
maybe about 4 or 5 games.
Total or
total.
4 additional games.
I mean, they better hope they feed off the bugs because they don't feed off the bugs.
What is the threshold that they have to win to not completely rip the cord?
Well, if they're at Christmas or New Year's Day and there's something like I would say like something like 12 games under 500, maybe or more.
Let's say they're 20 games in. Is 8 and 4. Is 8 is 8-12 a good enough record to not blow up the team?
See, I think there's an element you're not considering just yet, right? In a normal circumstance where you have the president of basketball operations in place, then you can make this. Yeah. But if the president of basketball operations comes in, he has no patience to wait around to say if you're 6 and something. So there are, for Alicia, going back to our darker point, they ain't got time to see, we just worked out the first 20 games type of thing. He's looking for any excuse to blow it up.
I also think that Bobby won't be as patient either, because he's the one that, again, through his messaging through the media, if we are to believe that at any level, then he is saying that I wouldn't want to be here anyways, so he doesn't believe in the team.
True, he put himself in that box, right? Because he
did put himself in that box.
Yeah, he did. So
if the team doesn't, so if the team goes well, he doesn't get to claim responsibility for the team in the same way. But if the team goes bad, he has all license to kind of
do what he got
to do.
Right, and I want to see no type of wringing fingers and hands and stuff like that 3 months later.
And clearly, he's trying to advocate that position because of I would assume because he has some sort of insight on the fact that Keith Pelly and those above him are not happy with the current direction of the team.
Look, I'll put it this way, Bobby. I mean, if Bobby got the job and then Bobby did it in this case here, and the team stunk, as you said before, and he just cleaned house and kept a couple of the guys that were rookies, I would say, okay, thank God, Bobby, you finally come to your senses. Give me some smelling salts, great.
Yeah,
finally, I would be fine with that. I just don't trust Bobby in this case here to be.
I agree. The trust is gone. That being said, people like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned. We're coming up on 2 hours, so we're gonna end it here. Because I think I have 5 hours in a month, so I got to save those hours up for free.
Don't know about week and a half.
No. It goes from the 9th to the 9th, so we got a little.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So all right. So everyone, take care and peace.